Welcome back to Norrath. Today we are going to take a trip up north to the ice giant city of Vladeholm, pay a little visit to the AVX on our way as well, and then delve into the depths of Permafrost Keep before we finish out. But in order for you to know where all that is in relation to Koinos here, where we stopped last time, I think we're just going to pick up here. And of course then we want to leave the city, head out over the plains of Karana, and then we're going to be heading up the Karana River north over that way. Well, you know, Minecraft, whenever it loads in. Because we do have a few things to see along the way. In fact, there's not really a good way to get up to that area because that's all the way up north where Halas is, and the frozen barbarian areas is where we're headed to. It's only a couple of ways. We do have the ships we could take from the harbor over there, but that would take us directly to Halas, and there's something we needed to stop and take a look at in the Karana River Valley as we go along. Last time we took a look at all the farm fields and everything here, so we're just going to kind of skip along over those, and as soon as we hit the river we're going to turn and head north. And the reason we're heading up this way is because I want to stop and take a look at the new AVX settlements that I built along the way. Now, the AVX are the bird people of Norrath. You know, people, but birds. Except they don't really have a very highly developed civilization. They're more like tribal, you could say. And of course, their buildings and everything reflect that. So let's just hit up the river here. And there are a number of AVX settlements all the way around Norrath. This is the closest one to us, which we're just coming up on here. We can see one of their houses, per se, right there. And as you might expect, they're mostly more advanced versions of bird nest, actually. If we get a little closer, we can see they're actually built in these special trees here to be able to support the nest. But the nests themselves are like wooden frames covered with various kinds of terracotta. Sort of like hanging adobe houses, you could say. And of course, you know, like any good self-respecting bird's nest would have, we do have a little perch here for them to land on outside the house. Then we have the door behind me. Or rather, the AVX haven't quite invented doors yet, so we just have an entrance here, and then we of course have the superstructure inside here, we can see. Imagine it's like a typical bird's wooden nest, but it's a little bit more finely weaved in. Do have a couple of windows though. Just some simple lattice work. And it's got 2 floors. Down here, I imagine this would be sort of like the nesting area where the AVX, you know, they would have their eggs and their young down here and everything. And then they would have whatever else they would do up here. But AVX are rather tribal in nature, so their houses and buildings kind of reflect that. They are sentient, but you know, just barely sentient. So. The Koinosian Empire to the south considers them somewhat of a nuisance. They're not as much of a threat as, say, the Gnolls are. But of course the AVX are rather fiercely territorial too. They like to protect all their lands and everything here. And they have they've carved out a niche. So they would have lived down there in Karana previously, but they've been pushed out. So they now roost up here and in the sheer crags and mountain crevices up here, where no one else pretty much wants or cares about this particular territory. Of course, the AVX moved in and have taken it all as their own. You can see their settlements here are quite expansive, and indeed they have been known to prey on travelers going up and down the river here. So you either have to be a very brave or a very foolhardy individual to be traveling up and down the Karana River without at least suitable protection, because, you know, the AVX are constantly flying around overhead, and if they consider you to be a tasty meal or a good target, they might swoop down and attack. But be that as it may, we're going to see more of the AVX in the future, but I just wanted to stop and show you what their basic houses are like. Everywhere that they are in Norrath, they have the same type of house. The trees will vary a little bit, but the houses are the same, pretty much. And once you see one of those on the interior of the houses, the others are the same. I made a total of 3 types of AVX house. I think we took a look at probably a medium-sized house. But we will see more of the AVX in the future. They've got a number of islands around Norrath and various places. I think the only place that they don't really live is Kunark, but they can be found elsewhere in Norrath. But we want to continue heading up the Karana River here to our destination today. Of course, the ice giant city of Vladeholm, below which is the permafrost keep. And also deeper down than that is going to be the frostcrypt, actually, which is another ice giant layer in EverQuest. I have kind of rolled all of those into one area in here, but you can see here we can see Halas off in the distance over there, but that's not our destination today. Vladeholm is actually going to be over in this direction over here, a lot deeper into the snowy mountains. So if we want to follow the road down here just a little bit, we can head off in that direction and slowly creep up on it. One of the barbarian watchtowers here. And it should slowly come into view. I don't want to creep up on it too fast. In fact, I want to land down on the road here for a minute, because I have actually gone over through this road and half slabbed it. So it's now walkable without having to constantly jump up and down. And I know I fly around a lot, so I do want to land so we can at least get a view of things from the ground level. I quite like this area, actually, up here with all the snowy pine trees and everything. This is, of course, the land of Everfrost. So named because it always has snow, never melts. Because, you know, Minecraft, we don't have seasons. We can pretend that we have seasons, but, you know, we don't have dynamic environments like that. So this is just Everfrost. Big fan of this particular area. Of course, we do have an entire frozen continent, too. And, ooh, we can see something just poking above the trees. Right there. Let me fly over here just a little bit. Here's I think this is going to be the last barbarian watchtower we have. This is marking the end of their dominion currently. And then over the road here marks what would be considered contested, you could say, territory between them and the ice giants. Or the frost giants. It's down in Velius. We have the storm giants as well. But actually, these particular giants, they don't exactly rule themselves anymore. They are under the thrall of the ice giant queen, Lady Vox. Actually, no wait, I said giant, didn't I? I meant they are under the thrall of the ice dragon queen, Lady Vox. Key distinction there. Being one of the more ancient and powerful dragons, she has, of course, taken up residence in this area, and because the giant empire was in, well, you know, it was in a state of collapse, not just decline, but collapse, and she came up here and pretty much was able to take them over because of that. So you can see we've got now a little Greek Doric arch here. And that means we crossed over formally into the territory of the ice giants up here. And this city is going to, it needs another layer of detail put on it. It needs to be a bit more ruined than what you're going to see today. But before that happens, I want to just show it to you in its pristine state. But this is what it would have appeared like, you know, a couple of thousand years ago, really. But next time we see it, probably I'm going to, we're going to erode things just a little bit more. It's not going to be too badly ruined, but it is going to be, it does need to have some age added to it. So if we kind of creep up here with the thing, we can kind of tell that the city itself, it looks like it's actually built into a series of high mountains, or mountain ridge, actually. We'll continue going along the road here. We will get an aerial view later, but I do want to go along the road. I think it's more fun. Because we do have all of these roads all the way through Norrath, by the way. They're not all half slabbed out, but hopefully someday they will be. Although I'm pretty sure I'm never going to find every last half slab to add, but, a lot of them are going to be there. Oh, and here we are. Okay, this is the main city gate of Vladeholm. Right here, and as we can see, it's more of an archway because the gate was long ago blown to smithereens, and it's not really been replaced. You can see we've got trees kind of growing up through the gateway down here, and snow drifts have piled up against the walls here and there and every other place. But if we want to enter in here, we can see that we do have, it looks like we have the road continues up to another gateway. Like so. So let's ascend the road. Uh-oh. Oh, well, I just said something about I was going to miss some half slabs, and I've certainly missed them here. I'm going to have to make a note of that. It looks like I missed one when I was doing this. Otherwise, it looks like I did finish the road. Oh, well. There's always something missing. So here we have another arched gateway here, but as you can see, it's rather a bit more buried than the first one we came through. It's because, snow tends to pile up over time, and it's kind of slid down and piled up in the gateway here, eroding a bit of the mountain as it goes. And here we have our final gateway, which is, this is actually the entrance to permafrost. Keep here as well, at least the top levels of it. And astute observers might recognize that all these patterns here are actually just the Parthenon tutorial that I put out a while back. If you look closely, you can see we have the Doric columns here. We have, instead of 8 columns, we have 6. The entablature and the roof is the same. The archway is the same. The wall pattern behind the columns is the same, except I just have columns stuck into the walls here as pilasters. Otherwise, they're all exactly the same. That's why there's never been a tutorial on these walls exactly, because it's just the Parthenon. I feel like I'd just be duplicating my efforts there. Maybe I'll do one day, but it's gonna be a while. This area still requires a bit of work. I want to push this back a bit and smooth the snow down a little bit, kind of like it is over there. But if we take a look in here, we can see what is actually the interior of the Parthenon, if you remember from that tutorial. Except what I have really done here is I've just taken the interior and shoved it into the mountain. And we're using it as, an interior space here. We have several more fire pots, though. I've removed the statue plinth at the back, though. But we can see, radiating off from here, we do have several interesting side rooms to go take a look at. In fact, let's just take a look at this one here. Of course, we've got the 3x3 piston door there. And in here we can see some brand new things. This is going to be the underground spaces that I have made in the Doric order. We previously seen underground spaces in like the Roman catacombs tutorial, but this one here is specifically made for the Doric order because I needed a lot of underground spaces for all of the giant architecture, because that's all done in the Doric order. And I'm well supplied with exteriors for that, but not so well supplied for interior. So we just want to lie down here. Of course, we're not going to be able to get to every single room today, but towards the end we are going to go into spectator mode, and I'll give you kind of an overview of what the entire series of room looks like. So this is one of the smaller rooms, really. I mean, this is about as small as it gets. So, I mean, it's still pretty big, though. But since I say this is one of the small rooms, you can imagine just how, you know, just how much bigger they are going to be getting. This is one of the larger ones, though. As I said, it's just the interior of the Parthenon ripped off and shoved into the mountain here. But if we want to take one of these 3 doors at the back, you know, what's behind door number 1? Well, door number, I guess this would be 1 down here. Door number 1, this actually leads here down to frostcrypt, actually, which is where the frostcrypt is hard to describe. It's sort of like where, I mean, it has crypt in the name, so, you know, you can imagine a bunch of frozen dead frost giants down there, except they're not exactly dead, exactly. They're I want to say that they're more in stasis, actually. Waiting for the day when Lady Vox, the ice dragon, will awake them for her own nefarious purposes. Who knows, whatever that might be. This door, that leads off to a sort of a tertiary layer, which is like the upper levels of permafrost keep. But this door here, the central one, is actually the one we want to go through now. And we want to take the stairs down. We're just gonna, you know, it's a bit of a circuitous route that we have to follow here, but it's fairly straightforward. At least I think, providing that I don't get lost. I have been known to get a little lost in my underground things before. Oh, bother. I think this way. What did I just say about getting lost in my own constructions? Well, anyway, be that as it may, let's continue on. Oh dear, there's another intersection. This way. We want to continue heading down, I believe. We do have to go quite a ways underground because we're headed all the way down to the lair of the ice dragon herself. And we'll see if she is there to greet us or not. Alright, down through the doorway, and here we are, in fact. The lair of the ice dragon herself. Although she does not appear to be at home, we are in luck. We actually don't want to meet the ice dragon. That would be kind of bad. You know, all we're holding is a torch, so we're rather ill-equipped to fight a dragon at the moment. All we really want to do is come down here and take a look at her room. A very impressive room, if I do say so myself. Now, of course, astute observers might notice that this is actually the Parthenon interior chamber again that we took a look at above, except it's been mirrored onto itself to make it even bigger. It's the biggest room we have down here. You know, ice dragons can be somewhat large, so they're gonna need a lot of space. Never mind how she gets in and out of here. We'll just gloss over that. And I probably need to expand this platform down here, but you can imagine this is where the ice dragon herself would sit on occasion. As well. I'm sure she'll respawn at some point later, though. And then along the side here, of course, we do have even more rooms over here. Many side chambers, many piston doors, and another 2x2 room. I was hoping for a bigger one. Actually, now I think we're going to dip into spectator mode so I can show you all of this from the outside to give you a more expansive view of exactly just how much I put down here. Alright, so we are in spectator mode, so if we clip through the wall, we can see the corridor where we have come from, piston doors, all of the intricate redstone circuitry down there. Don't ask me how that works. But we can see from the outside now just how big the room is. We can also see all the little side rooms as well. So here we have one of the larger chambers. And back here we have more of the, this would be a large pillared chamber. Just like so. A lot of this is just the same patterns that I've used for other things, really. Here we have a very large pillared chamber. And you can now see that all these are connected by various intersections. Of course, we have just straight intersections, T intersections, cross intersections here. We have all the staircases and everything as well. And the other different types of rooms and everything. Of course, at the moment, these rooms have they've only just been placed down here. In the future, I hope to be able to fill them, you know, with various interesting things, but that's a really long-term goal. That's like the fine detail final phase of the whole thing, which is going to take, you know, quite a while. We're just on the first part here where we are installing the architectural structure of permafrost keep down below here. I think here is actually the hallway we came down. We want to look off over in this direction. Of course, we have more large rooms over here. And if we want to look down this way, we have that tertiary layer of rooms I talked about. And then down here, of course, we have the frostcrypt down here at the very bottom. This is pretty much about as low down as we can get, in 1.12 anyway. About as low down as we can get in the world. Of course, if we ever update the map to have the deep slate layer, we can add even more stuff below this if we want to. If we look up above here, we can see we have just a bunch of chambers and just everything coming from here. And of course, here is the room that we came up with eventually. And then now to kind of wrap the whole thing up, let's get an aerial overview of exactly the surface level expanse of the city of Vladeholm up here. We go back over here. Here's the road we came down. There's the gate we went through, the first one, the second one, and then the third one. Back there. I really like how this giant Doric architecture, it suits itself to being clipped into the mountain rather well, I think. It really comes off with sort of that Mount Olympus type of feel, I think. When you use this in conjunction with a mountain and you kind of clip everything into it, it kind of has that feel to it. So Norrath has its very own Mount Olympus up here. The northern reaches of Antonica. And all the buildings here, you can see they're just different sizes of, I don't remember if this was the Type 1 or the Type 2 insula. I think it may be I think it's actually the Type 1. Don't quote me on that. It's been too long since I made that series. But you can see here, the city is rather expansive on the surface. In fact, let me go back into creative mode so I can fly around with a little crosshair. It's just easier to point at things. You can see here we do have a 6-columned large Greek Parthenon-esque building here. It doesn't have an interior yet, but if we want to land here at the moment, we will have an interior in the future. I mean, it's already got the door, but you know, it's the same design as the Parthenon, really. Most of this city is just bits and pieces of the Parthenon recombined on itself. Here we can see we've got the Stoa of Attalus right here. We got a bit of the Greek Agora over there as well. And of course, since it's high up here in the mountains, our fountain is kind of, it's partially freezing on itself, but for the moment we can at least enjoy the flowing water before it freezes and stops, I guess. I mean, there's only one block of water. I kind of wonder if it's going to... Actually, no. With the glowstone, it's not going to do that, is it? That's good. But anyway, we have an ice water fountain up here. I'm assuming at some point all this is going to freeze over solid. Although it doesn't look like it is. Oh, it's because we have more glowstone down here. That's neat. I'll have to add a bit more glowstone down there to prevent that from happening. But anyway, let's get a little altitude on the rest of the city here so you can see it from a good vantage point, because there is quite a lot that I've put down here, and it's kind of hard to take in all at one glance since it is kind of built and clipped into a... Oh, got some melting... Looks like some of the snow melted into water down there too. I'm gonna have to mop that up later. That shouldn't be happening. But yeah, everything here is just bits and pieces of things I've already made previously, just sort of clipped and collided together on itself. There's nothing really new down there, except for all of those interior rooms. I had to spend a couple of days making those. But you can see the interior rooms, they follow the motifs of everything that's on the surface, really. But all these buildings, they need to be a bit more, you know, aged, because this is an ancient city, after all. It's a lot older than the barbarian city of Hellas, way over there. And of course, the Ice Giant Empire is nowhere near as expansive up here as it used to be. It's just barely hanging on, really. It's sort of the sad, pitiful remains of the Ice Giant Empire. It's controlled by the Ice Dragon Lady Vox. She also has thrall over. I think there's some orcs over there, and some ice goblins, some kobolds, some gnolls. The usual stuff. The ice giants are just one of many. But this isn't the only fragment of giant civilization left. We do have Kale down there in Velius. It's a bigger, more impressive city than what we will see here today. But we're also going to see the ruins of oh, that's interesting. One moment I'm here, and we must be near the build limit out here. I'm clipping in and out of existence. But anyway, be that as it may, as I said, this is one of many ice giant fragments. We're by no means going to see just this architectural style built here. It's also going to be the ruins of an old city, as old as this one, down there at the city of Ogok. We're going to be taking a tour through those ruins eventually, and down there at Kale, and a number of other places as well, but most of those are going to be, I think, probably off in the Plains of Power and everything someday. But let me try and get a decent amount of altitude in here to give you a good top-down view of everything in the city before it would entirely clip itself out of view. But you can see here it's sort of terraced at various levels, built all around and this mountain ridge here. In fact, it's built around this central mountain peak here, right here. And of course we have the top of Permafrost Keep, and then the very bottom of it is it's actually down below kind of that temple there, but way down there, all the way at the bottom of the world. So now that we're here standing at the top of the world, I think that's going to be all the time we have for today. I hope you have enjoyed the tour of the city of Vladeholm and everything. I think tomorrow we are going to go back down south, warm ourselves up, and I kind of want to go show you what I've been doing at High Pass. But we'll have to take a look at that next time.